It's weird that the music plays for like a good 2 seconds after the scene goes, but I'm here for it. Nice. Welcome into twitch.tv/Ice Cream Upwards. My name is Graham Day, and I'm joined by the man that we call Bibby. Hiya. Yeah, right.
How we doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Back for another scoop. Did we do one on Monday? I can't remember.
We did. This is our second one this week, which I mean is 50% more than I think we did last week. So we are making moves.
We'll take it. Nice. So yes, I've been out of the office. I was in London at a Logitech event on Tuesday. We managed to go with Wobbles and then had some work stuff on the Wednesday and the Thursday. But we're back bringing you another scoop today. So grab yourself a seat, make yourself comfortable. We'll be here for the next hour or so bringing you our thoughts and our impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games. But it's not just about our thoughts and impressions. We want to hear your thoughts and impressions and then your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. If you are in the stream, please do feel free to get involved, just like Milo is right now. He's been quiet all along, but as soon as we start recording the podcast, it's like, fuck yeah, I want to get involved, bitches. So you guys can do that too, and it'd be important. It'd be great if you do that, because we are live on Twitch right now. For anyone watching on Twitch, yes, we are recording a podcast, which generally doesn't get too many numbers compared to our other content on Twitch, but it does lead to a lot of numbers on demand. Over 200,000 people have watched and listened to our podcast when we have put it live from the stream on VOD services. That's podcasts, a video on YouTube, or an audio podcast on iTunes and Spotify and Amazon Music and Google Play. Like I said, over 200,000 people have watched and listened to that podcast, so please do feel free to get involved. And if you are here on Twitch, I was talking about numbers, there is a bunch more people watching this podcast right now because we are live on the Twitch front page! !viewbot! !lol, how many viewers! !you absolute cheaters, mate. No, we are live on the Twitch front page, so if you are watching on the front page, you will get to see everything, but you won't get to get involved in the conversation. Click on the channel, drop through, maybe drop a follow if you've enjoyed it. If not, you will watch from the homepage, but you won't get taken along with the raid. You won't be able to get involved in the conversation, so make sure you come through. Yeah. Anyway, before we jump into the news, a couple of talking points. If you don't remember, we do the loot drop every month. We did it, was it this week or was it last week?
It was last week.
Yeah,
what day was it? 15th, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't in the office, obviously. Derp. Silly me. Yeah, so we do the loot drop on the first Monday of every month. Or we draw it. We export the list of subs to the channel on the first Monday of the month. If you are a sub on the first Monday of each month, you will be included in the loot drop draw. Basically, anyone that's a subscriber gets included for a chance to win a prize. This month, it was Mr. Spidgeon who bagged himself a copy of Final Fantasy VII. He won a game of his choice, and he chose Final Fantasy VII Remake, which he had gifted to him last week, courtesy of us, just because he's one of the boys. Let's. So yes, if you want to be involved with that, just make sure you're a sub on next Monday after, the 5th of February, and you will be included in next month's loot drop draw. Shout out to the channel sponsors, Logitech. Use code ICECREAM on any Logitech website, and you will save yourself a little bit of cash. GT Omega, use code ICU. You can save yourself some cash, and with all of those links, you will support us as well. So please do feel free to sit around. You may have heard me mention earlier on that I was scripting. I don't know if it was in the live show. If it wasn't, we mentioned it in the pre-show. That is because we're almost at the point where we're going to bring out our Astro A50 video, so hopefully we'll get that out for you early next week. That's basically after a month with the A50X, which is the headset that I'm using. We've got our thoughts. We know what we want to see. We're putting that into a video. So if you see that, please do feel free to watch that video through. Share it with everyone else. Get everyone to watch it. Obviously, if you are interested in buying a headset, use our code. You don't get any money off for the headset at first, but you will still support us. But yes, all that details in a video coming next week. Nice. Into the split screen. Hi, Bib. You all right?
Hello, Graham. How are you doing?
Not too bad, mate. Yeah.
Glorious.
Yeah.
Glorious. It's Friday. It's
Friday then. And Pal World Friday.
Yes. Pal World tonight. Buzzing for it. Can't wait. I've been ticking off confession time.
Oh.
So obviously I created my own server so I could play on my own. And I had it on hard mode. And I thought, why am I doing this? So I dropped it down to normal. And now I'm flying through it, and I'm regretting it a little bit. I've still not took down the first tower, but I am way ahead of where we are on ours in way less time.
I'm not as far as we were because I've only played it once and I played it for about 3 hours last week when I was using my backbone. We spoke about it just after I'd done it. I was like up till 2 a.m. unintentionally kind of playing it.
Lee said the same thing yesterday when I was in the office.
I heard your voice
like he couldn't fucking see. He was like, I was up till 3 o'clock. I didn't need this. Why did you tell me about the game?
But I put it down to casual mode and like I got distracted by the fact that I was on casual mode because I was telling you in the plateau just a couple of hills down from where we've built our base. If you watched our gameplay streams last week on Pal World, we built a base right at the top of the mountain where you basically begin. I went down like just not far, probably 30 seconds away, just 2 little plateaus down the hill next to a big lake kind of thing. It might even be the place where Tito keeps posting images of their base. If you're building in the same place that you were building the other day, Tito, with Phony and Co., I think it might be in the same like flat area next to a little pond lake thing. I started building there, but because in casual mode, one tree gives you about fucking 50 wood. You've just got resources for days, so you can just go build, and you'll find fucking pal spheres lying on the floor, just stone and wood everywhere. I'm just like, there is so much resources and stuff. But that was good because I just wanted to go in and push the boundaries and try new things and so on. So I didn't really get far, but anything I wanted to do, I could do because it wasn't a case of, oh, I'll do this, oh, I need to eat, oh, I'll do this, oh, I need to get a new pal, oh, I'll do this, I need some more wood. It was just, we've got everything, what do we do first? So, yeah.
I'm very happy. Like the game's just boss. I mean, we could talk about this for hours, but I'm genuinely just loving it. Like I've got that feeling, and I can't remember the last time I had this with a game. I mean, Starfield did have that as I was playing through it, but they're literally like, I just want another hour, and I feel like that hour will not get me anywhere, but I need that extra hour just to be able to play it. Like I'm genuinely loving it. If you know what it feels like. It feels like I'm playing an old school PES game where you want I just want one more game. Just that one more game feeling. With this, it's like I need that one more hour. That's all I need.
I don't even feel like that. I feel like just give me a week. Just bugger off. And
take a week off to play.
Yeah, just leave me alone for a week so I can figure out like the meta, so to speak, how to play it. Because a video game, you know how to play it, but you don't know how to play it. You don't know what strategies, how far you can go, which bosses you can take, what animals you can take down. Everything you're doing with a little bit of, will this work? Give me a week solid. Fucking, I'm gonna own this bitch. And I want that chunk of time with it because I enjoyed it. Enjoyed it playing on stream. We played it twice. Same day a week ago, fucking 6 hours or whatever, a little bit off stream as well, and it was just and then I went on the Monday and did some late night stuff. Fucking great. But then I've not touched it since, and annoyingly I keep opening up people's streams and now closing them. I'm not watching anyone streaming it because they're all so far ahead now that no.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to jumping back on that tonight.
Tito says we captured the Mamarest last night. He's now my bitch. Boss battles are a doddle. Are you guys playing it on casual mode? Like, because the amount of materials that you guys must have had to make your mega base and then changing it into like a stone version of the base and so on, is that just because you've had 4 people in it all the time, so you've got 4 people doing the crafting, or is that because you're playing it on easy mode? So we played it on hard mode. No. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we played it on hard mode, which means we'll get there, but it'll take us a lot longer, especially with only 2 of us. But yeah.
I did see that Paul wanted to join the guild. But I'm sure he's playing it on PC.
Is it not cross-plat?
Not yet. Because he's like, I saw him like, because he can change the name of his character and stuff. Obviously, we can't. We're on like version 0.10, and I think when I was watching him stream it last week, it was like version 1.25 or something. So he's on a much further forward build on Steam because they can roll out patches and stuff like that a lot easier than going through. I mean, I'm taking this from what Tito was saying. Going through Xbox's testing period, they're always like 2 weeks behind when it moves stuff over. And I'm sure that lines up with PUBG as well. So yeah, it's the Steam version is a patch or 2 ahead of ours. However, I did play it when I was playing it the other day. The bit where you caught all those fox sparks next to the tower, the boss tower. That area now, it exists, but it's actually got building on there now. So there is a load of the strangers, or what are they called? So there's like a base on there now.
Interesting.
So just an open landscape. Yeah. So they are obviously rolling stuff out, or they're patching stuff into the server as we go along. But we are like a thingy behind, so you won't be able to join us unless he's playing on the Xbox.
Yeah, he was playing on his PC / ROG device kind of thing. His ROG Ally. So yeah. Jeebs, welcome in. That's a merger for you. Yeah, we'll come back to that one in just a few minutes. But yeah, sadly. I'm on whatever settings Spiffy set up. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not shaming the fact that you're playing it on casual mode.
Yeah.
You bunch pussies.
If you've got less time,
yeah, I mean,
way to play it,
it's fine if you want to be a bunch of pussies, whatever, then you want to. Now, we were talking about this the other day.
You big pussy.
Yeah, puss. We're talking about it like, you're getting old when you start playing it on casual mode and stuff like that. So not even Pal World, we're talking about games in general, just so you can go through and enjoy the story, because if it's a 20-hour game, it'll take you 30 hours because you've got it on harder, because you have to redo certain areas. Just putting it on 20 so you can get through it. It's like, yep, I'm old. I don't have time, / the reflexes, / whatever. So, yep. There is a resource duplication hack at the minute by building as you are leaving your base and then cancelling the build. Hackers, honestly. Hackers, mate. I bought the Steam and Xbox versions yesterday. I bitch about shit AAA games in microtransactions, yet still buy them. Felt Pal World deserved support.
You know what? I thought the same thing, about buying it on Steam. If I can get my PC to a point where I'll be able to play it properly, then I'll happily rebuy it again. Because it's just, again, it's one of those games. I feel like I'm robbing it because it's on Game Pass. I think that, apart from Starfield, I feel like this is the first time where I've gone, fuck me, this is too good to be on Game Pass.
Tito is clearly, out of everyone, Tito has definitely been bitten by it. Like, the amount of posts that I've seen from Tito, not that he's spamming every minute, but the amount of posts in a Tito relative context, there is a lot of gameplay / Pal World relevant content coming out of Tito. So it doesn't surprise me that you supported it, because it's got you. They got you, Neo. That's it. You're in the Matrix now. The Matrix has you. Get out of here. But it's a good game, though. I've been enjoying it. The interesting thing is, there's been conversations. We don't actually have any Pal World news today, but there is the number one popular story on VGC this morning was Pal World Pokemon plagiarism accusations pile up as the CEO responds. So there is a lot of conversations around that. We're not going to bother with that right now, because realistically, a lot of the news around Pal World is newsworthy because Pal World is just popular and people are wanting the clicks. Realistically, nothing has happened apart from accusations and semi-responses. Nobody's said anything. Nobody's in trouble. It's just one of those things. So we're not going to bother with Pal World news today. If you want that stuff, join us in the Discord. We can chew the fat. For now, though, we will get into our actual main stories, and that is the fact that Microsoft is set to lay off 1,900 people across Xbox and Activision Blizzard. Did you see that, babe?
I most certainly did, yeah. Yeah, it's been a hot topic of discussion in our office anyway.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump over to the news screen. Let's go through this. There we go. It should be on the screen. This is written by Victoria Kennedy at Eurogamer, and the article says Microsoft to lay off 1,900 people across Xbox and Activision Blizzard. The tagline says painful decision. This is the news. So Microsoft is laying off 1,900 people across its video game teams, including Active Blizzard, ZeniMax, and Xbox, equating to approximately 8% of its gaming workforce. An internal email seen by The Verge, Microsoft's gaming head Phil Spencer called this a painful decision. It's been a little over 3 months since the Activision Blizzard and King teams joined Microsoft, Spencer wrote in his email to staff. As we move forward in 2024, the leadership of Microsoft Gaming and Activision Blizzard is committed to aligning on a strategy and an execution plan with a sustainable cost structure that will support the whole of our growing business. Together, we've set priorities, identified areas of overlap, and ensured that we're all aligned on the best opportunities for growth. As part of this process, we have made the painful decision to reduce the size of our gaming workforce by approximately 1,900 roles out of the 22,000 people on our team. The gaming leadership team and I are committed to navigating this process as thoughtfully as possible. The people who are directly impacted by these reductions have all played an important part in the success of Activision Blizzard, ZeniMax, and the Xbox teams, and they should be proud of everything they've accomplished here. We are grateful for all of the creativity, passion, and dedication they have brought to our games, our players, and our colleagues. We will provide our full support to those who were impacted during the transition, including severance benefits informed by local employment laws. Those whose roles will be impacted will be notified, and we ask that you please treat your departing colleagues with the respect and compassion that is consistent with our values. Looking ahead, we'll continue to invest in areas that will grow our business and support our strategy of bringing more games to more players around the world. Although this is a difficult moment for our team, I'm confident, as ever, in your ability to create and nurture the game stories and worlds that bring players together. End quote. So the layoffs follow, just for context, Microsoft's $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard last year and $7.5 billion acquisition of ZeniMax in 2021. It's also been announced that Blizzard president Mike Ibarra is departing Microsoft along with Blizzard's chief design officer Alan Adam. I don't know if that's pronounced Adham, but there you go. Sharing the news on X, Ibarra thanked those at Blizzard today, calling today an incredibly hard day. Okay, we'll stop there. It goes into more about the execs and so on. Microsoft announced a reorganization of its leadership teams and so on. There was one thing that I didn't know whether it was going to cover in this. It was either the day before or the day after. Microsoft, for the first time in its history, announced that it was a $3 trillion company. 3 trillion, not 3 billion, $3 trillion. And then either one day before or one day after, chops 1,900 jobs. Yikes.
Yeah.
So there we go. Microsoft lays off 1,900 people across Xbox and Activision Blizzard. Should we stop and talk there, or shall I jump through the kind of industry as a whole so far in January article first before I do?
You might as well continue to give some more facts so we can discuss the whole situation.
Nice. Okay, we'll do that. We'll jump over to the article. This one is written by Chris Scullion over at VGC, and it says over 5,000 games industry workers have already lost their jobs in 2024. The number of layoffs is already over half the total announced in 2023. Just going to stop there for a second. 2023 was a phenomenal year for video games. Phenomenal. Yeah. We had some amazing content, but that was equally painful, or bittersweet is the better word, because for all that cool content, we had a horrendous year with somewhere between 9,000 and 13,000. The number is... It varies where you're looking at it because the sources are quite difficult. Nobody is necessarily saying exactly how many people have gone, just that there was numbers and percentages and people have had to kind of draw averages and so on. But last year was a horrendous year, phenomenally horrendous in terms of how many people lost their jobs. And we are 26 days into this year and we're already at the point where over half those from last year have been announced already in less than a month. Madness. Yeah. So jumping into the article, the number of games industry job losses announced in January is already more than half the total job losses in the entirety of 2023. Technical artist Farhan Noah's website, Video Game Layoffs, has been tracking confirmed games industry job cuts since the start of last year. According to the site, an estimated total of 10,500 games industry workers lost their jobs in 2023. At the time of writing, the estimated total for 2024 on the same site currently stands at 3,770. However, today's news that Microsoft is laying off 1,900 staff from its video game division means that when the list is next updated, it will total at least 5,670 layoffs. This means that the total number of layoffs in 2024, as of January 25th, yesterday, has already reached 54% of 2023's total layoffs. It was revealed today that Microsoft is cutting around 8% of its overall gaming division, which has around 22,000 employees, a total of around 1,900 employees. On Tuesday, Riot Games also confirmed that it was laying off around 530 staff, representing around 11% of all employees. Earlier this month, Unity announced a plan to lay off 25% of its workforce, totaling 1,800 employees, and partly explaining why the total number is already so high this year. According to a GDC survey, around a third of developers say they were impacted by layoffs at their workplace over a 12-month period. You know, we'll stop there. You get the idea. So that's the context of what's happened so far this year. Microsoft losing 1,900 people, Riot Games losing 530 people, Unity losing 1,800 people. That comes on top of 10,500 people being let go in the last 12 months too. So a lot in terms of negative impacts on the industry as a whole. I mean, will there be any industry left if it keeps going at this rate?
Yeah.
It's just madness.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on Microsoft's news specifically then, babe?
Yeah, it's a difficult one to kind of put into words because as we very well know, the fact that they've ended up buying so many companies in the last couple of years, which you would think generates a shitload of jobs when you're getting merged, because they will have the facilities to be able to maybe make more games or ramp up development of older games with new content and things like that. But it's just not worked out like that. Like it seems pretty backwards, but it also makes me think that Microsoft may have overspent, and they realised that the the companies that they ended up bringing in and inheriting for a large sum of money might not be as profitable as they first thought. Which I'm not going to sit here and say I told you so, but I'm not the finance guy. We're not the finance guys. The people in our chat are not the finance guys. We don't know how much money they have to play with or how much they think they're going to generate from buying and then selling their IPs. It did seem like an awful lot of money, but when you're bringing in the likes of Activision and Bethesda, like that's a license to print money in any situation. But the fact that the stupid amount of jobs have been taken away from people in positions that put them in that position to go out and buy these companies in the first place seems like a bit of a slap in the face. Like, thanks for helping us get to this position where we're able to go and buy our competition in terms of the third-party companies rather than us pumping out our own games. We bring them into first party, and now we no longer need you because we'll just outsource it. We'll get somebody else who was doing 50% of the job. They'll now do 100%, but that obviously means that we don't need you anymore because they can do two jobs rather than one. Like, it's just a universal cut across the entire landscape of video games for an industry that is worth more than any other media in the world. I think barring football, I think football is the only other media in the world that will generate as much as the TV doesn't, film doesn't. Sport, I think, is the only one where it competes. And I don't know how much, obviously without doing any kind of research into it, I think I'm not going to say the neck and neck, but I would imagine with the likes of the World Cup, the Euros, AFCON, and all the other different football events that take place in a calendar year, Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup, Copa del Rey, Bundesliga, all the other things tied into it, I'm fairly certain it might be around the same. But I mean, again, that's just me spitballing, but the football is the only industry that I can think of that will compete with it for making money hand over fist. Yet the landscape of video games is ridiculous and difficult at the best of times, but the fact now that there is so many jobs going, how are people meant to still work in this industry? Like, there isn't enough positions around, regardless of if it's a company, a digital marketing agency like us or Microsoft. Like, how are people meant to find jobs in these industries when there's so many people being let go at one time? And it's no coincidence that it's the end of financial year in the next couple of months, where people will have to start paying their tax now to make sure that it's in before the end of financial year. It's no coincidence that that is the case where people are being let go. Well, so many people are being let go over the last 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. But I hope to God that come April, when people have got their budgets back again, that all of these positions open up again. That's the only light at the end of the tunnel that I can think of, where we bring these people back into the industry again, because it's not, Gamescom isn't that far away. Summer Games Fest isn't that far away, and people are going to rely on getting these games marketed at some point, and they can't just expect third parties to go ahead and do all of this work for them. They need people inside to either come up with campaigns or go to developers and go, okay, what have you got going on there that I'm allowed to see because I am working for this company? Can I take that segment out? Is that ready to showcase? Is that bit polished enough for us to be able to try and get some content out for it? Do you need this game being published now? Like, all of these small industry roles that people don't necessarily see because they're not outward presentable roles, are roles that are super, 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 super high experienced roles that aren't just someone who's a junior can come in or an executive and come in and just know what to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are highly established niche roles
Just to
that are being taken away from people.
jump back then. So Tito's put something in the chat that I was going to mention about. So you mentioned nothing makes money like video games. There was actually a news article. I don't know if that's the one. I've not clicked on the Games Industry link, but there was actually a news article about 2 weeks ago that said that for the first time in probably a decade, I don't know what time it was, TV and film actually made more than video games for the first time in a decade due to, first off, a drop in revenues within video games industry, but also an increase in revenues from the others. I think it's not like a big dick swing either. It was still quite tight. Video games is probably going to jump back past that again once things kind of normalize in that sort of sense. But interestingly, TV and video content jump back in front because of so Tito's put the event of streaming services means actually film and TV is bigger revenue maker now, but also video games has streaming services to contend with, and streaming services is actually quite problematic for those industries too, as they will be for the video games industry. Mm-hmm. So there is all sorts of shifting. Subscription services, the way that we take money off people. A lot of people love the idea of Game Pass and so on, but also subscription services can be quite dangerous for industries, as TV and film have found out. But the key things to notice for me is, obviously, Microsoft have laid off 1,900 people because they've spent 69 billion. They spent 7.5 billion. It's like, how can you spend 69 billion and then lay off 1,900 people? There is quite a logical statement, but what's been bugging me is the fact that people throw out, like, what's the word? Inhuman or unhumanistic sort of reasoning. Like, well, if you've got Microsoft and then you merge in Bethesda, you'll get a lot of duplication of roles. There'll be social teams and social teams merging into one mega social team that probably isn't really needed. If you've got two teams of 20 people, it's quite possible that one team of 30 to 35 people can do that job. So you need to get rid of 5 to 10 people from that team. Well, you don't need to, but it's not as profitable keeping there because you don't necessarily need them as such, is the conversation sort of arc. So it's like you do that and then you merge in Activision teams and Blizzard's teams and King's teams, and you get that all in one central Microsoft team. Then do you need all of those social teams? Do you need all of those product managers? Do you need all of those account managers? Do you need all those experienced people across all of those platforms? So a lot of people are going, it's business, it's merger. Mergers end up in job losses. Yes, they do. Congratulations on spitting out very basic facts, whilst immediately overlooking the fact that's 1,900 families that now do not have the stability that they had before. Nobody's saying that you're wrong, but it is wrong to forget that fact. These aren't numbers. It's not just a case of, well, the numbers don't add up. It's a case of that there are people in place of every single one of these numbers. These people have been successful to the point where they've turned a business into a $69 billion corporation and then managed to get it sold by one of, if not the biggest brand in the world, in Microsoft. And their reward is to be let go with severance packages that, what was the word that Phil Spencer used? Including severance benefits informed by local employment laws. Congratulations on making us $69 billion worth of business. We'll make sure that your severance stuff doesn't get us in trouble. We'll give you enough, as much as we need to. And that's the bit that does it for me. Sorry, I do have a dog on me. I've got some food delivered, so Milo is now like, yeah. You want to get down? Put it down.
Smell it.
You can, yes. So it's a shit situation. Like, seeing 15,000 people across an industry that is so profitable and is in an acquisition phase. The thing with acquisition phases means that this doesn't stop yet. Everyone's always talking about, will PlayStation buy someone next? Will Embracer keep selling things off? They tried to make a $2 billion package that didn't get picked up, so now they're just cutting the losses to try and keep as much profit in there as they can, which means getting rid of a few more studios, a few more people from studios. Probably because they want to sell some more stuff off. Are PlayStation going to pick up Square Enix is another conversation piece that comes in and out. After we get a year of downturn, we'll get a little bit of a plateau. Things will start picking up again. One game comes and smashes it. Suddenly people start looking at the industry as an industry that's worth investing in. And then we go again for round 2 of acquisition phase. People buy firms merge, people get gone again. And then we plateau and we go again until there's nothing left to acquire. And we're at saturation in that sort of sense. So I don't even know where I'm going with it. Apart from general disappointment, this is just it's painful to see people that we actively know. I know people that have been on the verge of the axe and dodged it. I know people that are sat underneath the looming axe right now in the Microsoft situation. And the fact that they know that 1,900 people are going to lose their jobs and still don't know if it's them yet. They've had to go home with that thought and be sat there like, okay, fine, job's good and it could be me, might not be me. I'll hopefully find out tomorrow. If not, I've got to go through a weekend, Saturday and Sunday, before I go back into the office on Monday, and maybe I find out then that I'm getting the job. And that's just fucking horrendous.
It is, yeah. Just waiting for the call.
Yeah. So, like I said, I know people that have dodged it, and you've got to think of how that impacts the industry as a whole afterwards. Because how can you be truly happy within your job knowing that you are at risk? The fact that you haven't been told at this point, look, you are safe. You mean so much to this business that we can't think about losing you right now. You're instantly, now your back's up. You know that you are at risk now. I could be at risk tomorrow. Surely that puts a little bit of a negative taste in your mouth being in that business, or the industry at large. You cannot fault people for being sat there and tweeting out while still employed by someone and potentially can be employed for months ahead or years ahead, but still having to tweet out that, look, I don't even know where I'm sitting right now. I'm sat here hoping that things go my way, and then I'll be relieved that they do if they do, but also that relief is compounded with guilt knowing that I'm happy for myself whilst my mate has just been binned. What a horrible situation. But you know what? It's fine. Mergers mean that people have to be let go. What a shit sentiment. If that's where you go with this and not even considering the fact that there's people, real people that we know, people that you guys probably follow on Twitter or whatever, that are on the verge of being chopped and nobody's even giving it that sort of second thought. That's the horrendous thing in this, is that people forget it's people. It's not a number. It's not just an Xbox division has lost 20%. It's not a percent. That's a group of people that have kids, that have partners, that have parents, that have dependents, that have bills, that have probably just relocated across the country, across the world for a dream job. A dream job for a company that is successful. I've moved to a company that's successful, so I'm bettering myself and I'm building for a secure future. But the success of that company has ultimately led to me not being important enough as the success of that company. Painful. I saw a comment from a developer, and I'm annoyed that I don't have it in front of me right now. But he basically wrote on the Office Slack. So there's a comment here. I don't think it's a dig at Phil Spencer, and I do think it was an Xbox person. But Phil Spencer's this comment here. Looking ahead, we'll continue to invest in the areas that will grow our business and support our strategy of bringing more games to players around the world. Oh, great. As long as you're looking to grow the business, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I don't feel like you need to say that at this point in time. I know it's a business decision, but there's also people in there. But whoever it was, whatever developer it was like my last comment before they took... this is my last comment before I got binned off the Slack. And it was something along the lines of, I'm just really glad that I was able to support and bring so much joy to the shareholders. And I was like, mic drop, goddamn. So, yeah, that's just capitalism, sadly. Yeah, but it's shit. So that's a shit statement. That's the shit statement that I'm saying. That's just capitalism, sadly. Is not where we end that conversation. where we end that conversation is capitalism. That is capitalism. That is business. That is the product of a merger. But that's people. That's where we end it. You don't just say that's just capitalism, sadly. But capitalism destroys the lives of people, as well as making the lives of people. It destroys the lives of people, and a lot of people have had their lives destroyed. And that's where we come back to it. Is it's not just capitalism that people have to live in. That's the key thing. A lot of people will wrap it up with that as if that's some form of profound plateau to finish on. The profoundness is that people are being disrupted by this, and capitalism and business people at the top are living off it. So I agree, but it won't change. It won't change. But especially if we end with platitudes like that, that's just capitalism. No, it's not. It's that's greedy bastards that have shit on people that have lifted them up.
Yeah.
Which is capitalism. But yeah, that's where we'll stop it. Anyway, for every 1% of unemployment, it increases. For every 1% unemployment, I can't make sense of that. What you say, sheep? What you say? Capitalism about money. It doesn't care about the lives behind it. Exactly. But that's the key thing, though. There is lives behind it. So just because capitalism is an environment that we're in doesn't mean that we don't have to keep that as part of the focus. And I think that's the thing where people are happy enough to go, it's a merger. It's just business. It's like, yeah, but not for you. Not you specifically, Tito, but just in general, not for you in terms of it is capitalism. It is just business, but it's lives. So it's just business for you. It's actual life. So yeah.
Shit.
I'm not disagreeing with you, nor my stance on this. I'm a massive Tory. Yeah, I know, Tito. I know. Oh wait, no, that's a socialist. I didn't realise. God damn. So yeah, no, I'm not saying you are. Just obviously stressing the point that not you, but these profound thinkers on social media that just sit there, your normal fucking verified troll twats that just go, well, it's just business, mate. And it's like, business doesn't have to be that way. But business is that way when you're focusing on the profits. Business doesn't have to... It's not just business. That's how you're happy to run business. That is bad management of business from a people perspective. That is unethical practices in the chase of financial gains. You can be legal and financially superior whilst being ethical or unethical. You can get there fully legally with bad ethics, and that's where we kind of are. It's that trade-off for people going, well, business is business. Yeah, business doesn't have to be unethical, and that's the bit that I'm seeing a lot of people breaking into conversation in the threads below it is, no, it's not just business. That's greedy, dirty bastards, money-grabbing fuckstains at the top of a corporate ladder that's meant to benefit them and them alone, standing on the shoulders and the backs of the little people that have lifted them up to these heights. For them, it's just business. For everyone else, nah. Every 1% that unemployment increases, 40,000 people die. Oh, there we go. Yeah. That's... Meh. Okay, we'll put a pin in this because it's a shit conversation topic. That's the reason we started with it, though. We actually wanted to start with something that we were more excited about. But it was less... pressing than that news. So we obviously had to start with that because it would be remiss to lose the fact that 1,900 people potentially lost their jobs just yesterday. But yeah, there we go. So the causes and consequences of economic dislocation, the information put forth by 1% point unemployment increase results in 37,000 deaths. Oh, not your bad. No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, no. Do feel free to put in more information like that, because that's it. If 40,000 people die because employment goes up by 1%, that's a massive... We're talking each one of these businesses lost at least 8% of their workforce. So obviously that's not 1%, it's 40,000 in their case. But if 1% can lead to 40,000 deaths, if you were to tally those numbers and scale it to their range, 8% surely is not going to be healthy. So so share away. We will put a pin in this one, though. We will move forward into something that will be less agitating for if you're a socialist like I am, like Bibby is, and Tito confesses to be, then you are right to get pissed off by that stuff because it is greedy bastards that have set that stuff in motion. So you are right to be pissed off by that, or not. It's up to you. You don't have to be, but if you are pissed off, then that's not a bad thing. That's empathy for other people being trodden on by other people. So yes, we'll put a pin in that though. We will go into something a little bit nicer to talk about, which is this. Chris Scullion at VGC has a story that says Epic says Fortnite will return to iOS in the EU this year via a new Epic Games Store app, but Epic says it will continue to claim Apple is, quote, breaking the law. So Epic Games has announced that it will be bringing Fortnite back to iOS devices this year, thanks in part to a change in EU law. In a tweet, excuse me, I'm going to burp. BRB.
Burp.
Nice. In a tweet posted on the official Epic Games newsroom account on X, the publisher said the game, quote, will return to iOS in Europe in 2024, distributed by the upcoming Epic Games Store for iOS, end quote. It's not yet clear whether this includes the UK, since the law change was an EU one and the UK is no longer part of the EU, or whether Epic plans to pay Apple the new fee it has announced for alternative app stores. The latter seems unlikely, as Epic added, quote, stay tuned for details as we figure out the regulatory timeline. Will continue to argue to the courts and regulators that Apple is breaking the law. The changes are being made as a result of the Digital Markets Act, a new EU law which goes into effect in March. However, while the law states that Apple now has to allow developers to create and offer new apps, including new stores, without using the App Store, Apple has changed its terms further to ensure it still earns money on non-App Store apps. Apple has demanded that apps downloaded more than 1 million times a year must pay it 50 cents for every download over 1 million, meaning developers will owe Apple €500,000 or 540... actually, that 50 cents is in euros, so we'll just leave it in that. So they'll have to pay €500,000 for every 1 million downloads after the first 1 million. Earlier this month, it also said it would let developers take users to third-party websites to make payments instead of directly through the App Store, but that it would charge a 27% commission on any proceeds made by payment links. Unless this situation changes then, it appears that even if Epic was to release Fortnite on iOS devices through its own Epic Games Store, its popularity means it may still have to pay Apple millions of dollars under Apple's terms. In an earlier tweet today, before the Fortnite announcement, Epic Games CEO and co-founder Tim Sweeney said Apple's plan to thwart Europe's new Digital Markets Act law is a devious new instance of malicious compliance. They are forcing developers to choose between App Store exclusivity and the store terms, which will be illegal under DMA, or accept new, also illegal, anti-competitive scheme rife with new junk fees on downloads and new Apple taxes on payments they don't process. Shortly after the Fortnite iOS announcement was made, Sweeney also retweeted a statement by the Coalition for App Fairness, which stated that Apple clearly has no intention to ply with the DMA. Apple, quote, by the way, Apple is introducing new fees on direct downloads and payments they do nothing to process, which violates the law, it claimed. This plan does not achieve the DMA's goal to increase competition and fairness in the digital market. It is not fair, reasonable, or non-discriminatory. Big words. Very aggressive business words.
Sounds like Joey Tribbiani when he gets that thesaurus out. Every single word.
So, yes, Fortnite says it will return. Epic says Fortnite will return to iOS this year. There's a change in the Digital Markets Act in Europe, and Epic are saying Apple are adding Apple tax, making people pay fees on things that they're not even involved in just because they're Apple and they want a slice of the pie. That's their discussion. What are your thoughts on that, Mr. Bibb?
I'm torn, really. I mean, I haven't really got a dog in the fight with this because I haven't got an iPhone, so I don't know how the whole ecosystem works on there. However, the way I see the Apple storefront is like any other storefront that's available in the world, whether or not it's on a digital world or a reality. If you own, like for instance, the Spa around the corner from us at work, they used to have Subway in there. It doesn't anymore. It has the pork shop. I imagine if Spa own that building, that the pork shop will have to pay rent, or they will have to pay a certain amount of money per product sold out of there because they are using that building, that Spa is, for their own services. I imagine the digital storefront on Apple is exactly the same. Like, we're giving you the ability to be able to sell your product here. It's not going to be rent-free. We're going to take something from you. And I think that's absolutely fair. But it's when it come down to a point where were they being charged twice? Again, I can't remember. It was a while ago. But were they being charged double the amount through the Epic Game Store compared to all the other apps because it was Fortnite and they was making money hand over fist?
No, it was. So that example of a shop that sells its floor space, that kind of makes sense. But if that community buys from that shop so intently that that shop then becomes a linchpin of that community's survival, if that shop closes, the community goes regardless, then that means for legal reasons and communal reasons, governments and stuff have to step in then to regulate that and effectively take over and say, look, what you've done is create something that's so impactful that it has literally changed society. So we need to change the way that society interacts with this because you have an unavoidable hold on society that means that you can take advantage of people. You've got a monopoly here. So they go, okay, what you can do is charge people a fair rate. But if people want to do business within that shop, you can charge them rental fees. But if people then start selling stuff, you can't take any money off them because they're not using your tills anymore. They're not taking your pasta to your tills and running it through your system. They've got their own mobile systems that people can... And Apple's going, actually, no, we want to charge you money for being in the store, and then we want to take a share of what you're selling as well. It's like, yeah, but we used to use your tills. Now we don't need your tills, so we're going to make our own money. Oh.
Big Hamish, 88.
Is raiding with a number of people, and that number is...
69.
Woo.
Nice. Yeah. Big Ham, welcome in. How did you get on with the PUBG games? I was watching for a bit for the Neil birthday stream. Did you jump into community games or anything after? But welcome in. Welcome in. We're talking about Epic saying Fortnite will return to iOS at some point this year. And we're talking about Apple having a monopolistic hold on their marketplace because they've been super successful to the point where their success isn't just good for themselves, but it's now actually bad for society and the industry at large. So it needs some form of external regulation to make sure that people still have fairness. That's the key word, is business fairness. So they are trying to pass... Not trying to pass. So the EU are passing a new law called the DMA, which basically means that if people are using an app or a store or whatever, you can't, on one ecosystem, force them to use your one store. People should be able to buy things from elsewhere to keep the freedom of choice and competition and fairness open. And Apple's going, yeah, we can do that. You can use someone else's store, but we're taking 27% of your profit. And it's like, why? Like, I'm not in your store. I'm buying something from someone else with my money, going through their payment systems and so on. I just happen to do it using your phone. Yeah, we need a bit of cash. Why? Just because we're Apple and we like the cash. So I'm an Apple fan in terms of I have an iPhone. I'm not an Apple fanboy, but I've had an iPhone. Job's good. I will probably buy my next phone. Will probably be an iPhone unless something miraculous happens with some other phone somewhere. Probably buy an iPhone. I know how to use it. Job's good. Not a fan to the point where I will be blind buying into that. And fucking, I'm glad because with shit like that, charging 27% just to use someone else's app or payment systems. Okay, you don't want to use our store where we'll charge you 30%. So you can use someone else's, but we'll charge you 27%. So I get a 3% reduction. We're talking about predatory business practices previously when we're talking what was the capitalism. There we go. We're talking the capitalism of the industry, which has led to 1,900 people losing their jobs. This is capitalism once again. Apple have made themselves super valuable, not just in terms of cash, but in terms of the way that people have to live their lives and the way that businesses have to set themselves up to speak to and to take money from people that are living their lives. You have to use Apple. And these rules have tried to stop Apple from holding such a death grip on everyone else that tries to do things their own way. And we've said it before, Epic are doing this because they want money themselves, clearly. But it is the good fight. Whatever their motives are, for us as people, it is very much good fight. So, yeah. Fortnite will probably return to iOS later this year. It'll be interesting to see how they go around that. Whether they try to bring it on with some side-loading payment options that don't go through Apple's system, because that's the way it worked previously. If you played Fortnite on your iPhone, you bought V-Bucks on your iPhone, it went through Apple's payment system, like Face ID or whatever it's called, and so on. Scan your face, you'll go through the Apple Pay, and then Apple will charge you $6.99, but Epic are actually only getting fucking £5 of that or whatever. So Epic said, do you know what? We're gonna create an alternative option. It can be done just through the internet. It exists now. You don't have to buy through Apple Pay. So you'll go through the internet, buy directly from us. It'll cost you £5 rather than $6.50 or whatever the fucking prices were. And then Apple went, no, we don't like this. If you're on our system, you have to use our payment systems. Why? Just because we want the money from it. Okay, but you're getting ad revenues. You're getting payments from me on the number of installs and downloads and stuff. Yeah, but I want a copy. I want a share of your actual revenue as well, though. But why? Just because. So Epic went, do you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to put this stuff in anyway. People can pay directly to us and we'll pass those savings on to the customers. And then Apple went and banned them. So the fact that they're coming back now, it'll be interesting to see whether they will still find ways to get around that, citing the DMA changes, or whether they will actually go, yeah, do you know what? Fuck it. We'll just go through your system because we are fighting the good fight, but we'll also get paid millions while we'll do it. So nice.
I'm just going to post the tweet that Fortnite Games posted out before, basically just saying the world is watching. Apple, make sure that you're doing the right thing and you're doing nothing underhand, with a gif of Peely doing this.
Oh, that's actually embedded within this article. So I'll bring this one back up. So here's two tweets. The one that it referenced in the article was Fortnite will return to iOS in Europe in 2024, distributed by the upcoming Epic Games Store for iOS. So obviously Epic getting their own store on iOS. So you were essentially installing the app on your operating system, but you're getting the games from Epic, you're paying the money to Epic and so on. Apple wants to take a chunk of that cash. Even though they're not doing any of the work, they're not handling any of the cash, any of their payment systems are involved, they just want it because it's on an iPhone, so we'll take it. Nice. Which is not what the DMA is looking to do with new law. But anyway, that's a quote tweet of this original tweet that says, remember Fortnite on iOS? Oh, balls. Just clicked on the link and it's just taking me to a new screen while it's loading. Nice. Remember Fortnite on iOS? How about we bring that back? Later this year, Fortnite will return in Europe on iOS through the Epic Games Store. Shout out DMA, an important new law in the EU making this possible. At Apple, the world is watching. And there's Peely doing that, yeah, fucking looking at you, bitch.
Amazing.
Sort of eyes.
Amazing.
Big fan. Big fan. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of fondness for Fortnite and Epic, just like I have a lot of fondness for my Apple iPhone. But they are two contrasting big business, capitalism-focused businesses. But in this one, Epic and Fortnite's push ultimately benefits me as a user, and whether it's for their own reasons or not, the enemy of the enemy is my friend sort of thing. Doesn't necessarily mean that Epic have always got my best interests at heart, but this will benefit me, so I'm fully behind this. So yes, please, we'll have another bit of that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, one final article then before we wrap things up. Not going too far away from this discussion topic is this one. Chris Scullion at VGC says Apple now allows game streaming apps, making Xbox Game Pass possible. So we've not had Xbox Game Pass on iOS because you buy a game from Xbox Game Pass or you install a game from Xbox Game Pass. Apple wanted a share of the revenues, even though no revenue is being paid there because you have a subscription. Apple wants some cash for that because it's a game being played on their system, which is stopping you playing other games on their system, even though they're not involved in you playing a game and you want to play that specific Sea of Thieves games on your system. Apple want a bit of cash for it because, you know, you might have been playing something else if you couldn't be doing this. So that's where we were. Anyway, things are about to change. The company previously blocked up such apps, saying it couldn't review all the content. Yes, that's what it was about. The children, not the cash. Yes. So Apple has changed its stance on game streaming apps, potentially opening the door for an Xbox Game Pass app on the iOS App Store. Microsoft launched its cloud streaming service, which was then known as xCloud, in September 2020, but wasn't available on iPhone or iPad. That's because Apple had blocked the app in August 2020, claiming it didn't fit within its app guidelines. Apple's claim at the time was that because Microsoft wasn't submitting each individual game to its review process, the app that enables the access to those games was being blocked from publishing. Microsoft responded by alleging that Apple, quote, consistently treats gaming apps differently, applying more lenient rules to non-gaming apps, even when they include interactive content, end quote. However, the situation has now changed, according to a statement on Apple's developer website, which says it's now introducing new options for how apps can globally deliver in-app experiences to users, including streaming games and mini-programs. Developers can now submit a single app with the capability to stream all of the games offered in their catalogue, the statement says. Addressing its previous issue that Apple was unable to review each new game added to a streaming service, the company has now U-turned on that and said the onus is now on the app developer to make sure the content added is appropriate. Each experience made available in an app on the App Store will be required to adhere to all App Store review guidelines, and its host app will need to maintain an age rating of the highest age-rated content included in the app, it says. Nice. Okay, big change then. Xbox Game Pass, and particularly streaming service such as the cloud functions, which I have installed on my iPhone-ish. So I have an app, or it's what it looks like on my iPhone. Let me see if I've got anything incriminating. Yeah, I'm just not going to show it anyways. Nothing incriminating there, but you'll be like, why's he got the Royal Caribbean app there? Well, I went on holiday last year, so I won't bother showing it. But I have a cloud gaming app. That's what it looks like on my screen. It's not. It's just a link straight through to the cloud gaming website. So when you go to the cloud gaming website, it recommends hit your little button in your tray at the bottom and save this as a web page to your homepage. It'll look like an app. Jobs are good. So I'm playing it through the browser, through Safari, not as an exact app, which is a skirt around that Apple couldn't stop. But now they've gone, do you know what? Fuck it, we'll look bad enough already. People are figuring out a way to do it. Let's just let it go. Let's just let it go. Could this then, the fact that we now have streaming apps, could this be one step on the road to what we've just had previously with Apple blocking stores and revenue streams? What are your thoughts on it all, Mr. Bibb?
Yeah, again, it's I don't really have a dog in the fight with this one because I don't have an iPhone. I understand that is a bit of a ball ache at the moment to be able to try and get stuff like this running on it. But it feels very Microsoft 10 years ago. Oh, not even 10 years ago, like 6-7 years ago. And obviously you had the PlayStation for the payers. And then Xbox basically going, we want to work with everybody. We want to open as many doors as possible to bring people in to be able to work with us. And then therefore we end up benefiting from it. I feel like that is where they're going to be going with this. The fact that they have got into AAA video games on the new iPhone, they're able to play like Resident Evil 4 on it. And I can't remember, was it Assassin's Creed that they're showing off as well? They've probably got other games on there now as AAA ones. So it's more than just a mobile phone. Historically, it was... this is such an Android person thing to say, but it was such a locked down device unless you jailbroke it, that you only really had the store to go from. If it wasn't on the store, again, unless you jailbroke it, you'd have to find alternative ways to be able to get the content from it. Whereas Android has always been pretty much open source. You can go and download APKs to then install, and it doesn't matter if it's not on the store. You can find it, you can download it, you're good to go. But I feel like the barrier is starting to go up a little bit for what Apple want the iPhone to be. It's not just a business phone anymore. It's not just it's not just something that you can use iMessage for or whatever. They want people to have as much access to the apps that are on there. And I feel like the times are changing over at Apple. Apple is a global success across the board, regardless of whether or not it's a tablet, or whether or not it's a computer, whether or not it's a mobile phone. They are pretty much market leading across the board. But I feel like they've got they're just reaching the tip of the iceberg here. I feel like there's so much more for them to be able to go down and just bring more people on board. Like for me, I won't move away from an Android, and that's not just total me being
a massive
an Android
fanboy. Sorry.
I mean, we got there eventually, but I'm in that ecosystem now. Like
Same.
it's the same with PlayStation and Xbox. Like you're in the iPhone ecosystem, I'm in the Android one. I've come too far now. I've got so much Android stuff on my phone that I don't think I could go without now moving over to an iPhone, because there's stuff on there that 100% will not be available in the Apple Store, as well as my Google Photos and my Gmail and all the other stuff. I understand you can get that stuff on iPhone, and maybe not through apps. You have to go through a portal or something. I'm not too sure, but it's readily available there. It's just a long-winded way of being able to do it. But it's the same with PlayStation and Xbox. All my games are on PlayStation digitally. I won't have access to those on an Xbox. I do have an Xbox. I am a massive Xbox advocate, but it won't ever be my main console because I don't have the 10 years worth of digital library available to me.
Well, obviously, conversely, I'm an iPhone user. I do disagree slightly in terms of like there's things on one phone that the other one can and can't do. Obviously, there is some things, but most of that stuff, compared to like 10 years ago, is extreme, very specific use case stuff. Like very, very rarely, and I say rarely to the point where I don't remember the last time there was something on my iPhone that I couldn't do, that I didn't have a workaround that someone else with a Android phone can and can't do. So I feel like that's kind of old school scenario thinking, like going back to early days of Android, being able to connect a controller to an Android phone to play games and stuff, and not being able to do that on iPhone. I was like, that sounds fucking amazing. Obviously, that sort of stuff exists now, streaming straight to my TV, streaming to sorts of other things. But I am in the same boat as you entirely when it comes to I'm just in an ecosystem that I know how to use. It's like going from a PC to a Mac. You know which keyboards you're controlling your C's versus your function button and something else on a Mac. And yeah, I will learn it, but I just can't be asked. So like, whilst there is nothing on an Android phone, nothing air quotes there is nothing air quotes once again on an Android phone that I can't do on my iPhone. Similarly, there is nothing on my iPhone that I can do that Android users can't do. Yes, there is. There's probably something. You've probably got a bunch of examples and so. But in my life, there is nothing that I can't do.
Yeah.
So the only reason I'm not moving to another phone is laziness. I'm in one and I know how to use it. It works. Jobs are good. And until like Samsung bring out some function that Apple doesn't have, that's probably something physical rather than software related, until the phone does something completely different, at that point I'll be like, bye. But we've been here for like nearly 15 years now. Phones don't really do anything that the other ones don't. And I wonder if that's part of Apple's thinking now then. Apple just sits there and goes, okay, we were pushing the envelope. We were making apps upon apps of doing things that people couldn't do. Okay, Android's gone. We'll make our own app system. Job's good. And so the apps that are available on Apple, usually available on Android, and vice versa mostly. The games that are on Apple, usually available on Android, and vice versa, mostly. So Apple gets some great games like Resident Evils, and it's got Death Stranding coming that'll work for it, and they look phenomenal. Yeah. Oh, great. Well, you can sideload a whole variety of emulators and play all sorts of other games on your phone. Okay, fair dues. There's swings and roundabouts for each sort of way, but Apple, I feel like they were always nice guy Apple, so to speak. They were the environmentally friendly. They were the user-conscious brand that brought you not just a big dirty square PC, but you could get an old-school Apple Mac that had a big blue or a big green or a big orange plastic back on your monitor sort of stuff. So you could choose something that you know, looked like you and represented what you were and so on inside. But now we're at the point where they're going, yeah, you can't play your Game Pass games on this system, mate, because we've not reviewed all of the content. All right, but I am Microsoft. I'm not going to put like Big Dick Simulator on your system because it'll be on my system and people will judge me by that. So you're safe. So it just felt like a really shit sort of Apple excuse for we just don't want the competition. So actually, we can't review your stuff, so make sure it's to our standards. All right, well, on Microsoft, your standards are pretty much the same as my standards because we are massive. Two of the biggest companies in the world. You can trust us, mate. It's fine. If you don't want to put on like some like alternate games store because you're not quite sure if it's gonna be legit or stolen or offensive or whatever, then that's a different conversation. But I feel like this is just like the tip of the iceberg in terms of, I feel like Apple stopping Game Pass, stuff like that, wasn't so much about the content. It was just because if that goes, then we get into the real issues for Apple, which is the fact that, okay, if you're letting Game Pass on, then you probably need to let Fortnite on. And if you let Fortnite on, then why are you not letting its payment systems on? And if Fortnite has its own payment systems, then CD Projekt Red probably going to roll out their own payment systems, and then everyone's got their own payment systems. So I feel like good guy Apple has been fighting the bad guy fights because good guy Apple likes good guy Apple's quids. So despite being an Apple user, I still believe this is all capitalism. Apple fighting, air quotes, their good fight because they like the profits that they've got and they want to keep the status quo, which is understandable, but shit. Moral of the story, don't have an iPhone. Fuck you, Zeg. I just remember the old days of iTunes. That alone put me off Apple stuff. I had a friend with his iPod and just found iTunes frustrating. Do you know, I never did find iTunes frustrating. It was the easiest thing ever. Just throwing a CD into the drive and then iTunes going, I've copied it all. Do you want it on your thing? And I got, yep. And then that was it. It was on my iPod, one of the old ones with a click wheel.
Yeah, I loved my iPod Touch. Like, genuinely, proper loved it. I've still got my account with a load of stuff that I actually bought from it as well. But I had the iPod, was it first gen iPod Touch, and then the iPhone 3GS. I'm not sure if they was around at the same time, but yeah, I remember 2008 or 9. Maybe I got my iPod Touch.
Interesting. I was probably, mine wasn't a Touch. Mine was the big fat white one with a spin click wheel on the front and a little LED screen.
I remember
on it.
Mike had that.
20 gig back in the day or something like, it's fucking 7 million days worth of songs, mate. But yeah, I never really had any issues with it in terms of getting content on it. I used to have my own stuff. I'd just get other bits and put it on it and jobs are good and stuff. Yeah, all legally sourced, obviously, back in the day while I was at uni. Like all students buy all things legally and put it on. But yeah, whether it was ripping off CDs, whether it was getting legally sourced files of music and stuff that were all legally sourced. Did I say the words legally sourced many times? So I never really had any problems with it in that sort of sense. But yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a little bit of a pain in the ass back in the day when you had to like make an iTunes, a ringtone, and you could either spend 99 pence on one snippet of a song that you already owned, and it usually would be a shit snippet as well. Like, you'd want a nice bit that sounds cool as it starts, but the ringtone, there'd be an AI, not even an AI, an automated process, because AI is intelligence. This wasn't intelligent. It would just go, that's it. And it'd be like halfway through a lyric or something, it'd start. So I used to edit mine in an audio wave editor and then put it into iTunes, but I had to fucking convert the shit first and then fucking put it over and then download that sort of shit. So there was a bunch of hoops before that bit. But I think that was just early days of the tech. Whereas going back to my Sony Ericsson phone, I could just fucking throw whatever file onto it and just choose where I wanted to start and stop. And that was like fucking 5 years earlier. So yeah, the downside, I mean, that was the downside. But the flip side was that you're in an ecosystem that was fully protected. Whereas fucking any Sony Ericsson phone, depending on where you bought it from, came with all the bloatware in the world. So you had a big chunky slow-ass phone and shit. So you didn't get that with Apple until they thought, you know what, fuck it, we'll start slowing your phone down so you buy a new one. And all the stuff that comes off that. But yeah. I already had the MPs ripped from the CDs I owned, honest. Just because I'm from Liverpool, don't typecast me. I found the other day I have an intolerance to apples. Guess what my favourite fruit is? I blame Apple Mac. God damn it, Spike! Hi, by the way. The Sony Ericsson Walkman phone was awesome. See, I was different. So, like, you basically chose between the Sony Ericsson Walkman phones or the Sony Ericsson Cybershot phones. And for me, the Cybershot was always better because your Cybershot phones had the ability to play music, whereas the Walkman phones just had a little bit more tech in the music player. I'd rather have I went for the ability to get the better lenses, the Carl Zeiss lenses and shit like that for the camera stuff. So I always went for the Cybershot over the Walkman ones. So yeah. They were more expensive as well. So, you know, clearly meant I was cooler and stuff and proper rich and definitely not just some baghead student that thought he was big things. But anyway, I had a Zune given to me. Never even once used it. My iPod was superior, and I don't even like Apple products. Nokia Engage was the best music and gaming phone. Oh, that was it. There was something the other day. There's a video game that's doing bits, and I meant to send it to David, but I was away from my desk and stuff, and copying a link on my phone while I'm out and about and dropping it into Discord and sending it away. But the devs of this game built it using an N-Gage. It was like an 8-bit game, and a new modern game, but they built it using an N-Gage as the system. And I was like, well,
Love that.
I need to send that to David. He's the only person in. He bought probably 60% of all Nokia N-Gages sold in the world. So, yeah. See, I didn't need better cameras. I was about 18. Last thing I needed was good camera recording where I got up to. Oh, no, but that was exactly why I needed it, because I was 18. Like, being able to go into clubs. Like, the local club in Huddersfield had a Bluetooth thingy on the screen so you could send pictures of you and your mates at the bar with your shots and your fucking white corkies or whatever it was, your VK blues and shit, and send that to the screen. Oh, how cool are we, mate? Yeah, let's go. So yeah, I wanted good cameras for that shit, because trying to take a picture with a Walkman camera in a dark nightclub, it was just like someone had just got a bunch of pixels and scattered them around the screen. I think there's a face in there. So, yeah. Why would you want documented evidence of that mess? Well, there you go. Best part of looking so ugly like myself, no need to take selfies, so no need for a good camera. I had 3 originals and 1 QD. There you go. Milo! There he is. Is it Milo's here because I have a pie in a tub sat waiting for me, so he's thinking he's getting some. But anyway, we are going to wrap things up. So we've spoken about a few things so far. We've spoken about Microsoft laying off 1,900 people across Xbox and Activision Blizzard. 5,000 jobs have already been lost so far, 26 days into 2024, which is madness. Fortnite is coming back to iOS this year in Europe, or at least it looks like it is. And there's more coming to iOS as well, as Xbox Game Pass / cloud gaming apps potentially will be available soon too, thanks to a change in role from Apple. But if you think, you know what, not bothered about Fortnite, not bothered about other stuff like that, I want something free. Well, it's okay, we got you, because today is Friday, and as happens every week on the Epic Games Store, one game is given away for free. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Free Game Friday. Free Game Friday. Nobody pressed it. I just sang it because that's what we do. Anyway, so this is free until the 1st of February. So January 25th to February 1st, 2024. Infinifactory. From the brilliant and terrifying minds at Zachtronics, this week's epic freebie is a 2015 classic of logistic puzzles and a callous space corporatism. Well, that sounds like what we've been talking about today. Nice. Infinifactory, you'll design 3D factories to meet production demands of space management across 50-plus puzzles across alien worlds. There you go. So if you want a little bit of puzzle fun time and building bits, make sure you grab Infinifactory. It is free right now on the Epic Games Store. Will be free until next week, where it is replaced by Doors Paradox. Once again, this is written by Morgan Park, Lincoln Carpenter, and the rest of the team at PC Gamer. We cover this every week. What the game that you can get for free on the Epic Games Store. And there it is. Nice. Are you up for a little Infinifactory, or is it Power World all the way?
It's Power World all the way, baby.
Nice. Rop it up, G. We just ropped it. It's all ropped. West! Welcome in. I was watching Mark Rebier on Twitch last night. And I just was sat there. If anyone's seen West stream in the morning, you get the Mark Rebier, the the one when he goes, get what was it say? Get out of bed, bitch. Let's go, dung, 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 dung. Whatever. Anyway, the wake up song. Anyway, I saw him playing it live on a beach in fucking LA or wherever he lives in the world. So I just sent the link to West, going, check it out. So yeah. Mark Rebier, last night's stream, about 1 hour and 30 minutes. You can watch him just in front of a bunch of people, clearly off the tits on a beach in LA or wherever, just getting out of bed, bitch. Let's go, boom, 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 boom. But yeah, you know,
to beat that though,
it is absolute banger. It's got so many as well, like Blackbeard's coming, and he's taking a shit.
Blackbeard's coming, and he's taking a shit.
Fucking bangers. Anyway, don't know Mark Rebier? We're not even going to explain it. We'll just leave it there. Have yourselves a beautiful day, you beautiful people. The games industry is a bit of a difficult place, but it's fine because we have content to take your mind off the shit stuff that is happening out there. Not entirely, obviously. Keep it in mind. It's worth keeping an awareness of what's going on. But if you want a little bit of a break from it, because it can be quite distressing, not as much as the people living through it, but we'll take your minds off it with some Pal World, some PUBG, and some podcasts and other things that begin with P. Nice. So tonight, Mr. Bibb, what time are you going to be on?
Usually around about 7:30, 7:45, or something like that. It may even be sooner. It's basically whenever I can get Joseph to go to bed. Whenever he tells me that he's ready to go to bed, because if I say, let's go and do his peggies, he's like, no, daddy. So it's literally at his discretion. It's usually around 6:30, 7 o'clock that he goes up. So providing I can get him in bed, I'm not going to say force him to go to sleep, because that would be wrong. But usually it's around that time anyway. So yeah, we're jumping on around then. But obviously the best way to find out when we're going live is obviously to follow us on all our social media, and as well as on Twitch if you've not already done so. If my voice owns up holding up, because at the moment it doesn't sound like it's going to, but here we go. We'll get through it.
Yeah, it's all right, mate.
I've run out of water like halfway through the show, so I'm being very selective with my words.
Trying to keep close to the mic, but Milo stood on my chair arm, so I either have to sit facing away from it like that, or come all the way in and ignore him. So, what do you want? What do you want? Yes. So 7:30, 7:45 ish, some sort of time tonight. Play some Pal World.
Yeah.
Let's go. I won't be playing, but I will be watching, I think, tonight. I think we're going to chill out after a week down south, mate.
I know what's going to happen, Graham. We're going to get an hour in, and you're going to be like, I need to level up my Fox Sparks.
Now we're in, and it'll be like,
Put me in, coach.
Yeah, exactly.
don't say Pal World. I just got myself off that crack after 3 days straight. It's so good. It's so good. We'll play it before he gets taken down. Ad starts in 2 minutes. Snooze. You get to fuck. We'll finish him, mate. Don't suppose you fancy sending me over to Nacho, do you? Save me clicking the link to get there. We'll do that. We got you, Zeg.
Mr. Eternal Lee, yeah.
Lee, did you know that Tommy used to work on the docks? Tommy used to work on the docks. It's been a difficult time. The union's been on strike. He's down on his luck. You know, it's tough. So tough. But Gina, well, she works the diner all day, working for... Okay, fine. We'll
Leave it alone, but...
Wow!
Well, we there.
Wow!
Ding hot.
Baby's fell asleep on his chair.
Ding,
There you
hot and pink hair. If you don't know Eternal Lee, by the way, do check him out. He plays like your rock star. Enjoying yourself there. Rock band, should I say? Stuff. It's good. It's a good view. It's a good view. Check him out. Also, next bit of whiskey on stream, which is always fun to watch someone do that while they're having a good time. So let's check it out, baby. So yeah, please feel free to check out Eternal Lee. We are going to send you over to check out Gaming Nacho now. We're finishing up. We're going to wrap things up. We'll drop in on Gaming Nacho because Zag doesn't want to click a button, which is understandable. Who wants to click a button when you don't have to? Because we're going to wrap things up. As mentioned, 7:30 tonight we'll be back with some Pal World. 10 a.m.-ish tomorrow we'll be back with some PUBG fun times. But before any of that happens, Mr. Bibb, is there anything else you would like to add?
Yes, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for our 2 episodes of The Scoop this week. We'll be back next week with maybe even 3, maybe even 4, maybe even 5, but there's only 2 ways that you can find out if we are going to be doing so. First of all, find us on social media. It's that Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms. Alternatively, get involved with our Discord. All the links that you require will be listed in the description below if you're watching this on any of our on-demand services. Second. No, it was there. It was right there. It was right there, and it went. Bastard. Fucking hell, size of this moth. I forgot where I'm up to, but yeah, it's Ice Cream Uploads across absolutely everything. That, honest to God, there's nothing better than a sneeze, and it caught me and then just disappeared. I'm sorry. But yeah, find us on social media at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms. But yeah, follow us as well. I completely forgot where we're up to, and I'm not repeating it all again. So
I genuinely thought I'd missed a cue then. I thought you was waiting for me to say something. I was like, what?
I could feel it. It's like, when you get the tingling going up your nose, and it's like, yes, it's about to hit, and then nothing. Bastard. Robbed me of it.
Because on that, I agree though. Sneezing, it's just such an exhilarating thing. And when your body goes, hey. Actually, never mind. You're like, the fuck?
You've been stolen from me.
Yeah. So yes, sorry, no sneeze. We'll try to bring that later on. For now though, enjoy the raid as we go over and say hi to Gaming Nacho. Please do feel free to drop the ICU emotes or whatever you want to do. Just have yourselves a good time. But until 7:30 p.m. tonight, what they gotta do, Bibb?
Stay frosty.
Yeah.